Knox Country
Podcast Edition.
I've always been around great songwriters and artists my whole life. I'm Michael Knox. Welcome to my world.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason Aldean, and you are listening to my boy Michael Knox on Knox Country
Podcast.
Welcome to the Knox Country Syndicated Radio Show podcast. I am here with Josh Thompson, probably one of my favorite artists, singers, songwriters in town, dude, hands down, period. And dude, this year's a huge breakout year for you, 2018. Well, you had your first number one, your second number one, and now is that correct? And
yeah.
And then you got Jason Aldean's current single, "Drowns a Whiskey" out.
That's right.
And so how does that feel? Because you're transitioning now from an artist to a really prominent songwriter.
I mean, it feels awesome. It it only took 12 years, but nobody's counting. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I moved to town. I just wanted to do not concrete. I want to make a living in the music industry. So, but yeah, transitioning from the artist thing to the full-time writer thing has been it's been a couple of hills to climb, man. But thanks to you, I mean, you started it off for me, so I appreciate that.
Now, the very first song I ever cut of yours was "Fast Lanes." Is that correct? As a songwriter,
Church Pews or Barstools.
That's right, Church Pews, Barstools. It was cut for the same record. Fast Lanes didn't make the record. Is that correct? And then we put it on the next record.
It made, and then it made like a Target exclusive.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny, man, is that's the one that every now and then when we're doing, we're like, man, we need another Fast Lanes. And I'm like, what, a song that took 2 albums to get on? You know, like...
Yeah. Well, next time you need another Fast Lanes, just take the old Fast Lanes. and
Well, me and you go back away because I first met you at a publishing house when you were on your way to play to get your record deal.
That's right. I'll never forget that.
I remember you sitting down, you played a bunch of songs, and we were just cutting up and stuff, man. Day one hearing you sing, day one hearing your songs. I remember when you left that day, I looked at the people in the room and said, man, I have to produce his record. I love this guy.
Greatest record you ever produced.
It was the greatest record.
Except for,
and our single just went gold.
Like you just breeze right over that one.
That's right. And we got a gold record now.
Yeah, it's way out here.
Yeah, way out here. Yeah. Way out here. Josh Thompson, gold record. I got it on my wall.
That's right. I got it on my wall too. Man, that song. It was huge. It was huge. I mean, it kept me on the road for 10 years.
Yeah,
it was literally one song, one record.
Yeah, but Blame It on Waylon was cool. I wish songs like Sinner would have got a better play. But now Shalacy's favorite song on the record is
Back Around. I'm telling you.
I know you loved it too.
That's my jam.
Hey, I mean, I think probably, it's just dealing with, that Joe Galante left, right as we were going for that third single, and it probably would have been Sinner or Back Around. Yeah, but
it was man. That whole album was so good.
It kept me busy for a long time, and I still remember the day that I played you the 3 songs I was going to play for Joe, and I didn't know, man. I was nervous, and you're like, dude, play those 3 right there. I promise it'll work. I was like, all right, well, it worked.
That was the first album I ever worked on with you as your production coordinator. Like the first full album I did was your album, so maybe that's why it's special.
So I'm good luck. For you, kind of in a way.
And I'm good luck for you.
You are very good luck for me.
There you go.
So I got a question. How many names does Shalacy have?
Last time I counted, it was like 45.
Yeah, say a few of it.
But the one that stuck, I think, was Sha-Home-Depot.
That's my favorite.
But there's Sha-Tarantula. And Sha-Downtown. I mean, it could go on. Shakur's Light.
Yeah. Sha-Home-Depot will always have a special place in my heart too.
Yeah, I've been trying to beat Sha-Home-Depot ever since, and it's just hard to. But I try not to call her the same name twice when I see her.
And you really don't.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever repeated yourself.
Loch Ness Monster, that was my favorite.
Well, I don't know if I like that one. I'm going to have to veto one.
All right. So... artist thing, you're making this transition into a pretty prominent, like first call songwriter now for songs. I mean, I know you're on my list. You're my top 5 easy for me to call when I'm looking for songs.
Love that.
How is that transition with you? I mean, are you wanting the artist thing, or are you enjoying this kind of transition?
Man, I am enjoying it right now. This is I reached a point on the road where it was just like I was spending more time than I was financially helping myself. So it was like it got to a point where I was gone more, and I didn't get to see my kids hardly at all, and it wasn't worth my time like staying here, being able to relax and concentrate on the creative process, and just it's opened up a whole new world of ideas, and actually having the time to be able to focus and make them right. It's been a world of difference for me.
Do you go out much and play artist shows?
I don't. I did 6 so far this year, and then I ended up making big changes and got rid of management, and then I haven't emailed my booking agent back yet, so I guess I've turned everything down.
Yeah. And that's kind of the path you want to take maybe this year to kind of clear your head a little bit with it?
I would love to, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stay home, I'm going to grow a garden, and write songs.
Yeah. Well, dude,
because Aldean's cutting, again,
Yeah.
Singing,
well, I mean, and you've got
next
2.
year.
Yeah, you've got 2 on this current album, right?
3.
3.
Why are you trying to hold?
I'm sorry. Oh.
Trying to shut me down.
He's got 3, and we just had Ol Barstool.
Yeah.
Which was number 1, and you're gonna have a great run with this Drowns of Whiskey.
Man, I hope so. It sounds, you guys you sprinkled the magic on for sure. I don't know what happened in the studio that day, but it just took it to a whole nother level.
Well, I mean, we earned our money. I mean, we made that song a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, when
sure.
I got it, it was a B-side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just kind of, that's what you signed up to do. So you're the producer.
Shoot, man. My best job is not messing up your great demos. I mean, because no offense, I mean, your stuff, when you pitch it, man, it's a record to me. I mean, all I'm trying to do is not mess it up.
Well, you don't, man. You took that to a whole nother level. It's awesome.
Well, what else do you have clicking right now? Because you got a few more cuts going on, things like that.
I wish, if I was my publisher, I'd be able to give you numbers, but I don't know.
Well, I know you've co-wrote over 20 major label cuts over the past year.
Yeah. I mean, I've been getting a lot of cuts and a lot of action, and it's been great. I think Drowns Whiskey is the only single that's coming out that I know of in the near future. But you can't get a single if you don't get cuts on records. So
there you go.
There's songs. My songs are on a lot of different records coming out, and
but dude, the transition from you being an artist to a songwriter is probably been the most overwhelming from people, because I hear everybody talk about, I need a Josh Thompson song, or whatever, but I haven't seen that since Red Akins kind of made that transition too.
Yeah.
And dude, there's going to be a lot of powerful things coming your way, because I can tell you there is an addiction for how you say things, the melodies you come up with, man. I'm probably hands down one of your biggest fans, period, as what you do. I
appreciate it. My messed up phrasing, as Craig Wiseman put it the first time I wrote with him. Man, you got some messed up phrasing. That's a compliment, I guess. I don't know.
No, but that, I mean, so be ready for me, because I haven't seen this since that transition with Rhett,
And I loved it. I mean, when I was doing the artist thing, the guys that I gravitated towards were Rhett and like David Lee Murphy, because they just I don't know, they got it on a level that not a lot of songwriters do. I mean, they know what radios, how to please them and what a crowd's looking for, and they get it.
Yeah. But now, but you can use a lot of that now in your process, because when you're writing, probably the reason it's more intelligent is because you know how to be authentic about what you're saying, because you've been out there, you've seen these people react, and you've seen fans react, and man, I think that's the best thing for a Nashville songwriter, is to be somebody that grew up in front of fans.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because I mean, I can definitely tell you what a crowd of people that drink too much are looking for. I can't tell you what I can't tell you what like the sit down dry county fair people necessarily are looking for, but I can give you some songs where some people get rowdy. Hey, this is Josh Thompson, and you're listening to Knox Country
Podcast.
Well, but now, out of all these cuts that you've been having, this has really just been a couple of 3 years, man. Really, just been exploding for you. Other than your favorite last one, I mean, which one happened and you go, man, I think I can do this? What made you not want to call back the booking agent? What made you not want to pursue the artist thing? Was there a cut or two that you were like, man, I think I can do this without having to compromise myself?
Yeah, it was when I was making the transition. It probably took two years to, and I was for the town to turn around, and say, hey, like, instead of, well, if this song's so good, why don't he cut it? To actually view me as a songwriter who's trying to get songs, on records. But there was a song called Freaks Like Me, and it died at like 43, but that's right. It was Joe Nichols, and it was like 8 months after I decided I'm going to just do the writing thing. And like at that point I was like, okay, this can happen, even though it died at 43. And then it took about another year or two, and then Barstool happened, and I was like, that's it. That's it.
And that surprised me that was your first number one. I mean, just knowing the body of work that you have. I mean, because we are true fans of yours from day one. And when somebody told me that was your first number one, I was shocked.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, Way Out Here went to like 15, I think.
Yeah, but that played like a top 5.
Yeah, it played like a hit for sure.
I mean, it's still recurrent, crazy right now.
Yeah, and people go nuts for it. But it was Barstool that like there was a confidence. It was like a confidence booster. Made me confident enough to be able to go into a room with guys that had, 20 number ones and say, I think we should write a song called I'll Name the Dogs, and not have them laugh me out the room.
Well, tell me that process of writing Drowns the Whiskey. Kind of how did that all come about?
I know it's the opposite of what Brandon Kinney probably told you. But,
he took all the credit.
Yeah,
Brandon came in and said, I had everything written but the tag.
Yeah. He called me today. He's like, I just want to get our story straight. as long as you tell him that, like, I came in with the idea and the lyrics, and you were playing guitar, but I was telling you what chords to play.
That's pretty much how it went.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, I had Brandon out a lot, and my guitar player Jeff Middleton was like, he was obviously my guitar player, but we wrote a ton on the road. We loved writing on the road. So at bus call that night, which is midnight, I mean, we sat down and we started writing songs. I mean, every time that Brandon came out, and so it was like 4:30, 5 in the morning when we finished this song, and I had the lyrics, the idea, the melody, the everything.
So you had everything.
Yeah, you know what? I don't like to brag, but I'll also say this, that Brandon overserved us a little bit that night.
Yeah.
So now that I do believe.
Yeah,
there are some details that no matter what any of us say, don't really know.
Did y'all even write this song?
I think we did. Yeah. Well, and then the funny thing about this song is like it was one of whatever. We'd write 7 a weekend, and it just got lost in the shuffle like so many songs do. I mean, when you're writing whatever 200 songs a year, it got lost in the shuffle. And thanks to Brandon, who left Sony and demoed like 45, 50 songs before he left. That was one of them, and it's just one of those things that stuck out. Like, we're idiots. Like, why did we let this song go?
But that happens a lot, man, where you write so much and you kind of, you kind of on to the next one.
Yeah.
And you and no offense, they are your babies, but you don't really think about them commercially because you're writing them and you're like, man, I love that song. But then you're off on something else and you kind of forget about it. I see that happen all the time.
Yeah. It's very easy to do. And I mean, there's no telling in this town how many great songs have just been sitting in a catalog somewhere.
Yeah. Sitting on a work tape.
Yeah.
You know, that you never finished.
Yeah. Or sitting on somebody's phone.
But he said that there was another work tape that y'all were pitching around a little bit.
Oh yeah, Jeff, my guitar player, who's a great guitar player and a great songwriter, not a phenomenal track guy. So yeah, he did a little. I love you, Jeff. Yeah, he did a little demo and Brandon never even heard it. So
well, on the new Aldean record, you not only wrote Drowns of Whiskey, but there's another song, you've written 3 on there, but there's another song called Set It Off.
Yeah.
And man, when I first heard that demo, I think I hit you back pretty quick on an email, but I love that song, you know, and
that was the first time you actually emailed me back.
Yeah. But I sent it to Jason. Jason contacted me pretty quick, and I remember saying, man, you know, this has got a big shot, man, you know, to be more than just an album cut.
Yeah.
You know, and that song is definitely a standout on the record. But, you know, was that just you and Brandon, or was there...
It was me, Brandon, and Jody Stevens.
Yeah, Jeff's son.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we, in fact, I think that was probably ended up being Jody's idea. I don't like to give that kind of credit, you know, but yeah, that was his idea. And, you know, just that little guitar riff thing, and it kind of fell into place. I think we wrote it in like an hour, and it just felt right.
Yeah. And we hear that a lot, man, when people are talking with us, is some of your best songs happen pretty quick, you know.
Yeah, fast.
You know, and it's funny because you wish you had better stories. You wish you had a deeper moment, but they're usually just happening, and it gets out of the way pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, as a music fan, one of my favorite records of all time was Merle Haggard, Let Me Tell You About a Song. And he would, before each and every song, he would spend 30 seconds, a minute talking about why he wrote this and like what he was going through, what was happening. And as songwriters, like we don't generally have those stories, you know, because we're cranking them out, and we're trying to be, a lot of it is personal, you know, from a personal point of view, but it's trying to be as commercially viable as possible.
Yeah.
Knox Country Podcast Edition.
Some of you know me as a record producer for acts like Jason Aldean and Thomas Rhett. Others know me as the son of rock and roll legend Buddy Knox, Party Doll fame back in 1957. I'm Michael Knox. Welcome to my world. You're listening to Knox Country
Podcast.
Hey, this is Keith Urban.
What's up, y'all? It's your boys here, Florida Georgia Line.
Hey, this is Little Big Town.
And you're listening to Knox Country.
You've entered Knox Country.
Welcome back to the Knox Country Podcast. But that's what gives you an edge too, man, is that you have the artist side. You have something that you're not, that you want to express a little differently than a songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, you have an artist side that you know is, in my opinion, one more step in the creative direction. You know, it's an artist that can write, you know, kind of comes at it a little differently than a songwriter.
Right.
You know, for some reason.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what I get from you, because your lyrics are so, you know, visual. You know, I love that about your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the what I try to do is just write a song that I like. And then most songwriters are trying to write a song that Rascal Flatts likes.
Yeah.
You know, so I think if I'm satisfied and I love something, that generally becomes a song that you know ends up getting on a record.
But you are falling into that category now where some artists are hearing your stuff and they're wanting to be you. You know,
that's why there's so many ponytails out there.
Yeah.
Today.
No, but I get that too. Your cuts sound like a Josh Thompson song. Like I can hear songs sometimes like, did Josh write that? And sure enough, your name will be on it. So it's like you definitely have a distinctive style, you know, that people are going to start emulating.
Yeah, it's very like David Lee Murphy. You know, man,
Yeah.
when he started making that transition, you know, when the radio was coming on and Chesney would sing a song, I was like, man, that sounds like David Lee. And then a month later, you'd look it up and you're like, he did write that.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I mean, that's great. I mean, if that ends up being the case for me, I mean, I would love that. If you can pick out a Josh Thompson song, then yeah, love it.
Well, I mean, what's on the horizon for goals for you? Like, what's the next place for you? Because I know you're achieving things pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just the next steps up. I'd love to do, you know, triple play. That'd be great. You know, Songwriter of the Year. I mean, all that stuff. Just be, you know, like, do some writers' nights where they fly to Hawaii, all expenses paid, and give you like $80,000 and like a free hotel for 2 weeks, and like, you know, just stuff like that.
So are you BMI or ASCAP?
BMI.
Well, you're at the right place.
No, but I mean, you know, just getting more songs cut, more songs on the radio, and just, you know, achieving, you know, the songwriter's dream. Songwriter of the Year would be great.
Do you see yourself going after the artist thing down the road, like a legit effort at it? Or I'm sure things happen naturally, everything's cool, but
yeah, I mean, if it fell into place, you know, like I think like things like Stapleton, like, to me, happened like just so naturally. Like, he was just phenomenal, and, you know, somebody gave him a chance. But I don't know if I'd put a whole lot of effort in. I would love to cut another record at some point, just something totally cool and something that's not, you know, not trying to chase radio with it.
Yeah, but you could do that Rodney Crowell thing.
Yeah, I would love to do that. It's just like when you decide to do it, then you gotta set some time aside, and then you're busy, so you can't produce it. You know.
Shoot, dude, that's a gimme for me. I've already produced one. I'll produce another one. What are you talking about?
We might do that.
I can knock that out. I can knock that out pretty easy. But so who are your go-to guys right now? I know since you're starting to get a lot of cuts, I'm sure you're finding yourself falling in a rhythm now with a group of people. I mean, do you have like a core, or are you still experimenting?
Yeah, I mean, I do love to experiment, and I still do. I feel like a lot of good comes from, you know, that first time. I don't know, it's kind of like a thing in the room. Like Rattan. What's the first time we ever wrote was Ol Barstool. But my go-to guys, like Brandon Kinney's like become one of them now.
Yeah,
we've hit a really good run recently. Ben Hayslip, I love Matt Dragstrom, Kerry Barlow. There's just like, you know, about 10 people that I jive with. Yeah,
and that's good, man, because it's, you know, it's nice to have a very, you know, small crew that kind of feeds off each other. You know, I've seen that in the past, you know, where you get a little more mileage out of that than to kind of spreading out the ideas a little too much, you know, because you never know. You want to take a great idea to somebody that you've had experience with.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a great idea, like I'll definitely, I won't open my mouth until I know it's the right person. You know? I won't take. You got to be careful in this room. If you just talk about some stuff and there's 4 people in the room, you're doing a 5-way. Yeah, just like that. you just went from 100% to 25%. Don't you love those writers when you're writing something that's already a 3-way and they go, "Hey man, come on in there and join with me," and they're in the hallway. And that happened recently. I was like, well, there we go. I mean, but, you know, I'll take 25% of you know, something. Yeah, I get it. There's 0% of nothing, but yeah. So this new way, I mean, I know you came up writing very organically, you know, and now it's a little more track oriented sometimes. Yeah. You know, do you like that, or do you prefer the co-write? I still love the co-write just on a guitar, but what the tracks have done, and I love it, is they take you where you wouldn't go. You know, 90% of the stuff that I write, you know, to tracks would never be something I would write with a guitar. There you go. And so from a broad base, you know, songwriter's standpoint, you know, it broadens your reach to me, you know. Well, I can tell that, like, Ol Barstool, probably organic. Yeah. And Set It Off, probably track. Yeah. You know, and Drowns the Whiskey,
there was a pretty prominent loop when I got it. But is that how y'all wrote it?
No. It was just three dudes and a guitar.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, because a guy like you, coming from the organic world, I bet that does really inspire you to be able to jump out of your box that aggressively, and then come back. Because a lot of guys write with that all day, and you're like, well, man, how do you stay totally inspired unless you can jump out of that box once in a while? And your box is the organic world, jumping out of that a little bit. But I bet those track guys love a melody guy.
Yeah, well, they need one. There's some track guys are great writers. Some track guys are just phenomenal track guys. So it's just learning which ones to go to. But yeah, it's at the end of the day when it comes together, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, especially if it's like a more like a hip hop leaning track, and then you've got really country lyrics with a country voice, like where those meet is like super cool to me.
Yeah, and that's cool. Was there a moment, a song, an artist, something that you were really obsessed with or heard, and you go, man, I want to be an artist. I want to be a country artist or something. Is there something that happened that triggered that for you? Yeah, well, there was a bunch of things, but I was 21 when I started playing guitar, and got a guitar and took some lessons and started playing it. But I had a family friend named Mary Lou who like just sat around the campfire with 3 chords and would do like CCR and like all that old stuff. I just thought growing up like that was the coolest thing ever. Like I would love to be able to do that. And so I heard a song when I was 20 called Ride Me Down Easy by Bobby Bear, and that was the night that I decided like I'm gonna get a guitar for my birthday and I'm gonna learn how to play this song. And as soon as I could learn 3 chords, I started writing, and I never learned how to play that song, but we've still got time.
So could you play it today?
I'm sure I probably figured out just sitting around.
But that's kind of late in life.
Yeah.
To think
it's
about
really
it, but
late.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and then I moved to Nashville, and I forget, I was 25 or 26. I
mean, that's a shame to say that's late. It's early 20s, but
no, it's late.
It is to play an instrument.
Yeah, it's pretty late. I think, most people start when they're like 8 because, the family, but there was nobody, the only thing my family played was radio.
Mm-hmm.
So this didn't really run in your family, being a musician, singer?
No. They all sang, but it wasn't like real.
So is it sort of surreal that you're here doing this for a living now?
Yeah, it's still a little weird. I guess I just, I just moved to Nashville and never looked back and just kept working.
Hey guys, it's Shalacy. Check us out on the web at knoxcountry360.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at knoxcountry360.
So what were your go-to music in high school? What are you listening to?
I listened to like a lot of old country when I was in high school. I was a very odd person. But I also liked, I liked a lot of stuff. My go-to like stuff was Merle Haggard and like just that super lyrically driven, guys that weren't afraid to be vulnerable, and just honesty in the lyrics and the beat, and especially like the up tempos were just like, that's just what I gravitated to. But I would get down with some LL and some Ice Cube too. I was not afraid.
There you go.
Not afraid. The only thing I never really like locked into was rock.
That's interesting because you have a raspy voice, which seems like it would go that way.
I do. I don't smoke, and I also wasn't greatly influenced by rock and roll, like the Stones, stuff like that. I'd love that, and like CCR, but I wasn't.
You're talking about 80s rock.
Yeah. It wasn't, the hair metal wasn't my jam.
Well, back then, man, right when the ending of heavy metal, country took over, it was like yin and yang. We've talked about it before, where one day it's Motley Crue, the next day you were Randy Travis.
Right.
It really was that aggressive. So you were coming in right at the end of that. So, but Merle Haggard and all them in high school, that had to have been a throwback listen, because your friends weren't listening to that.
They were not. They were not listening to that.
Did they get it? Was there a crew of people that were listening?
There was a couple, but like their idea of country was like Garth Brooks, and that was too hip for me. It was like, yeah, it was way too new. But yeah, I mean it was fine. I mean I'd listen to anything that was good.
Well, let me ask you something that it's not meaning to come off as like aggressive or harsh, but if you had other hits, would you have enjoyed the road, or was it just the road itself you were kind of getting burned out?
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have, if there was more success there as an artist, there was like hits, and I could have been a little more, cared a little less, financially about what was going on. I mean, I think that would have been more enjoyable, but it also got to a point where it was just like so repetitive, and it was like, you're smiling at people that don't deserve you, that don't deserve your smile.
Yeah.
And you're just, you're faking it. There's a lot of faking it.
And that's tough.
You're tired and you got to go out, these people paid money for tickets and you got to, bring them show. And it's like, yeah, they ended up being so much faking it. It's like, didn't feel real anymore.
And it's not about the fans. Because, you enjoy playing for the fans. It's
I
everything else that no one sees.
Yeah, it's everything else. It's the 57 things you had to do before you finally got out on stage. And, it was a great release, and the crowds are awesome, and it was like, that's what you do it for. But everything else just got to be, so taxing, especially when you're hopping back in driving after the show. It's like, there's got to be a better way.
Well, I'm a big glasses half full guy. So, like when things happen, I'm like, well, man, you got to see why that happened. So it seems like this fits you and your day-to-day personality probably a little better anyway. Yeah. So all that gave you an education maybe of how to make this a little more successful than a normal songwriter.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm finally controlling my own schedule.
Yeah.
After, 10 years. And, at the first 3 or 4 years of missing deer seasons, like I started to turn. I could feel a major shift. And
you're like hanging a shotgun out the bus window.
Like, whoa,
I'm going to find something out here.
There's been some times where something like that might have happened. But yeah, I mean, it was like this. I don't have any control over what I do, and I'm a control freak.
Yeah, and the road can exhaust you.
It is
even successful. It exhausts you, and some people are cut for that. I'm not a road guy. Yeah. I don't like going out on the road. I don't like sleeping on the bus and stuff like that. I like my own space. I like my own control sometimes, about that. And I'm glad that you had the artist experience. I love the record we cut. Way Out Here is one of my favorite things I've ever recorded. And
me too.
But I enjoy cutting your songs more for some reason. I like having them for multiple things. Because I love getting your demos, dude.
I enjoy you cutting my songs. For multiple reasons.
Yeah. But cutting a record and a songwriting record, all that stuff. I think that's the way. I think people would eat that up from you, dude.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would be good for me too, to move, labels and opinions and all that out of the way and just like do music until I'm satisfied with it,
When capture the part of the that artist career that you really enjoyed, recording your music, performing whenever you want, and then being able to come home. The best of both worlds.
That's what I'm talking about. Or just build a studio at the house and never leave home.
There you go.
Well, you gave me a gold record a while back, and now I'm going to get to give you one. And hopefully two, maybe Ol Barstool and Drowns the Whiskey.
Yeah.
2018 is going to be strong for you.
And let's not stop there by any means.
No.
Let's keep it.
Blacktop Gone. That was the third one I was cheating you on.
Yeah, let's keep it.
But Blacktop Gone is so signature. It's the other side of you. It's that drive thing that you do so well. You ain't seen country yet. I love those kind of songs from you. And then Blacktop Gone on the new Jason record, that drive was addicting. The first day we heard it, Jason was just like, these were no-brainers. Your songs were no-brainers that we were cutting them.
Well, I appreciate that. I love those driving things, man. They're not the easiest to write necessarily and be good. You know what I mean? Like, but man, they're great live.
Yeah,
those are my favorite
but your twist on the title, Blacktop Gone. I mean, you don't hear that. It's common as you think that is. You don't really get to hear the way that's said sometimes. Fast lanes. These things were things that you thought had been written 100 times and they weren't.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I'm gonna hug you when this is all over.
But cool. I appreciate you being here.
Knox Country.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Knox Country Podcast. Special thanks go out to co-host Miss Shalacey Griffin and producer Donnie Walker. See you next time.
You've entered Knox Country Outtakes.
So will you spend more money on fireworks or beer?
Beer, probably.
And then you'll play with the fireworks.
Yeah, for sure. You don't. You finish the beer and then you open up the fireworks.
But now you have young children. Are you not worried about them being afraid?
Well, I wasn't until just right now.
See, it's different now, huh? It's the fireworks and beer kind of don't go together.
Yeah, you can't shoot bottle rockets at your kids and expect them to get how fun that is.
No, it's a little different.
Hey, it's Josh Thompson. You're listening to Knox and Loch Ness Monster right here on Knox Country 360.
That's awesome, brother.
Knox Country Podcast Edition.